Welcome back, everybody, to the Fighting for Freedom podcast. I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your love and support. You guys have helped this channel grow dramatically. If you could please, at this time, drop us a like, comment, subscribe, share our podcast, turn on those bell notifications, and leave us a rating and good review. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Fighting for freedom, one podcast at a time.
Yo. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the pod. I know if you're watching this, you could tell by his microphone, his shirt, his background, and you can't see his chair. Wait till you hear the accent, because this is going to be one of those that you're going to be like, holy shit, military. Brandon, what up, bro?
What's going on, man?
Oh, dude. So before we even hopped on this, before I pressed record, we had a funny interaction where you were doing some funny shit with your microphone, and I was like, damn. And you were like, well, I better get some compensation for this. And I was like, well, you already signed the piece of paper that says you're not getting shit. And you said that's not the first time, not the second time you signed the contract. Yeah, a third that you signed the contract and didn't get anything out of that. What did you mean by that?
So, 5 years active,
Yep.
and right now I'm going on almost 2 years reserves.
Oh, you're in the reserves right now?
Yeah.
Damn, and you're allowed to have a beard like that?
I don't have drill right now.
Oh, wait, damn. So you grow a beard pretty fast. You shave that once a month?
Yeah.
You should just tell them that, you get bumps and get a no shave shit.
Which actually, I had to trim it this morning.
Oh,
just
that.
Just for this podcast.
Oh, okay, yeah, because they're gonna be watching this. Yeah, you know how to write accounts and shit, right?
Yeah, I've had to do that a few times.
Right, just get it ready because you're gonna need one for yourself.
Oh, okay.
Nah, I'm joking. So, I kind of know your story. You know, we've known each other for a while, right? We've done some dumb shit and some really dumb shit together. We'll get into that later on. But born and raised, where are you from?
Born and raised, Brandenburg, Kentucky. It's a little town, about 30, 45 minutes west of Louisville.
Okay.
Louisville, sorry.
Wait, so there is like a difference the way you say it, right?
So, for you, how would you say it?
Louisville.
We around here say Louisville.
Louisville. Is that? What about Louisville? Is that the thing?
Dude, don't.
That's the thing. I don't know, dude. I know two people from Kentucky, and one of them's you, and the other guy's a black guy with zero accent. So I'm like, really confusing.
Different parts, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because if I go 45 minutes down the road, it's completely different than where I grew up here.
You grew up in like the sticks. Going around the table, thankful for Copenhagen, Jeff Gordon, Push Light. Yeah. I love that. All right, so you're from Louisville, Kentucky, and then
sure,
yeah, and you stayed there your whole life.
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of said sticks. Whenever I was first born, probably the first 2-3 years of my life, I lived in a place called Dead Horse Holler. Yeah.
Sounds like a ride at like an amusement park.
So, Dead Horse Holler, and then we moved from there because it started turning into like Meth Central.
Okay.
To Midway, Kentucky, which is right outside of Brandenburg, and I lived there the rest of my life until I moved back here, and now I live right outside of Brandenburg.
Is that like a big military town or?
Kind of sort of is, because probably I can get to Fort Knox. Like, it's an army place, like army town surrounding Fort Knox. So we do have a lot of army around here. That's pretty much it.
So where did the Navy come in?
So my grandpa McCoy, on my mom's side, obviously, he was a retired senior chief out of the Navy. And I've always looked up to him my entire life. Knew there was something else that I wanted to do with my life.
Yep.
And this has always been really my plan. The reserves, that wasn't really my plan. That was kind of just wanted some good health care, you know.
Yeah. Well, you had kids, right?
Yeah.
So that definitely. You had one kid active and
We
one
just had
kid.
had our second
in the reserves.
Yeah.
Is the healthcare different for that, or no? Not really. Same shit.
So actually, the TRICARE that we have active, like essentially we go to the military doctor, like kind of sucks, but whatever.
Yeah.
We have in the reserves, I kind of have the same insurance as my wife when we were active.
Oh, it's really the same shit.
TRICARE, but I can actually go to my own doctor, my own specialist. Like I got shoulder problems right now, and I'm going to see specialists and going to physical therapy and stuff. It's phenomenal. Dope. I love it.
So I guess like all your pay, right, that you get from the reserves kind of goes towards your medical shit, and it kind of evens out in a way.
So yeah, kind of like if I go do a drill weekend, I'll get. I don't really want to talk money, but like I'll get a certain amount of money, and then that pretty much covers my medical. Like I have to pay out of pocket for my medical insurance.
Gotcha.
But it kind of equals out pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did it. You stayed in the reserves because you were like, having kids is kind of fun. I like the process of it. So let's keep doing this. But nah, because like you always have an outlet if shit doesn't work out for you on the civilian side. Like you're still in the military, so like nothing can really go like terribly wrong for you. You always have like big Navy to be like, help,
Right. And that was another huge reason why, because this was a conversation that me and my wife had a long time, like from 2 months before I got out of active. Like I kind of sat down and I FaceTimed her because I already moved her and my daughter out here.
Mm-hmm.
Like bought my house while we were on our last deployment, and actually I closed on it in Guam as I was going out to Tinian.
Damn.
But so I already moved her out here. We got back from deployment. I had probably 5-6 months left before I got out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking to her probably 2 months before I even separate, and I'm like, hey, the job I'm getting after this don't really have the greatest medical. And what if that doesn't work out? What if because it is a shell shock getting out and like coming from military dude, I joined when I was 17.
Yeah.
So I came straight out of high school to military for the 5 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I knew. And now I'm 24 and like, it's a shell shock.
Yeah. You're like, now what?
Yeah.
Who tells me when to like wake up? Like who tells me when to go to work, when to go home? Bro, that's funny you said that too. Cause like, so like I've always had a part-time job when I was in the military. Cause I just grew up with that mindset of, just hustling, just working. So while we were in Homeport in Port Hueneme, I got a part-time job at Lowe's, right?
I remember that.
Yeah. So I was working at Lowe's, like after work on like, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Fridays, Saturday, Sunday. And I remember this one time, it was like my first shift, like on my own. Like they were like, all right, like, congratulations, you're like an actual employee. Here's your actual schedule and go work in the plumbing section. I was like, oh, okay. And then Lowe's closes at like 10, 11 o'clock, right? So I'm like, all right, this is cool. It's time to go home. But what do I do now? So I just started sweeping. I just started cleaning. Like, what do you do when there's no one to tell you what to do? You just start cleaning and just started looking busy. Next thing I know, it's like a half an hour past closing time, and I'm still cleaning, like organizing shit. And like the night crew comes in, and they're not wearing like uniform; they're wearing like normal clothes. And I don't know who these guys are because like I'm new, and they're all looking at me, and I'm like,
they're like,
I don't know.
Who the fuck are you? Why are you here?
Yeah, why the fuck? Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. So I'm still sweeping, and then like the manager's walking around just, like before she goes home or whatever. And she's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I was waiting for you to tell me I can leave. Like, so you had to like come make sure everything was good so I can go. She was like,
can I get a safety brief? So I can go home?
Exactly, dude. She was like, so right now you're not in the military. So when the clock hits 10, you go home. And I was like, oh. But I did get paid that extra 30 minutes, so that was kind of lit. And the plumbing section would look phenomenal.
Not to name names, but did you work with EA1?
No. That was Home Depot. I was
Ah,
Lowe's. Yeah, two different.
competitors.
Yeah,
They
there's
suck.
like a rivalry. So you're like have an accent and like chew on hay for a living. Which one do you prefer, Lowe's or Home Depot?
So there's a small town, like
Oh,
a
okay.
family owned. I
Okay.
tend to try to stay family owned.
Yeah. Well, no, take that out of the mix completely because if I see an IHOP, a Denny's, and a mom and pop breakfast spot,
Right.
I don't care what they serve. I don't care how gross it is. I'm going to that mom and pop shop. But if you had to
So,
pick between the two, Lowe's or Home Depot,
Home Depot stopped doing military discount.
that's okay.
So I'm gonna go with Lowe's.
Hey Lowe's, you got my employment and our business. Oh shit! All right, so yeah, so that transition, right? Was there any like help you had through the military or anything you did on your own to make the transition from active duty to civilian? I guess you could say easier.
So I had a job lined up,
Okay.
which that job, I mean, nobody from that job's probably gonna listen, so I don't really give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that job, they told me what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And I had this lined up for probably a year before I even got out. Like, talked to the owner of the company. He wanted me on as the maintenance manager. Like, gave me a starting pay, which was a decent price, and all this other good stuff. And I get out, like, all right, sorry, back up a little bit. Bought my house, had a job, already had my family out here, already had my whole life out here. I was just waiting to sign paperwork and get out.
Yeah.
So my transition, I guess you can say, like, I didn't have anything out in California. All I had was, I mean, I lived with Spano, and then do you know Simpson Jenkins, BU2, I think. I lived with him for a little bit too.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like now I'm starting to see the face.
Right.
I was thinking of damn, I was thinking of the other guy. I think he was a UT2 Simpkins. That was my boy, bro. That dude, he was just a gentle giant. You remember what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay, I do remember Jenkins. Yeah, okay.
So I lived with both of them, really. Like, kind of went with Spano for a while, and then his wife moved back, and then I went in with SJ. But anyways, like, all I had was a couple bags of clothes, and that was it. All my other shit was already out here. Like, I sold my truck, my old yee truck. So I sold that. Like, all my vehicles are out here. Everything was all set up. All I'd do is hop on an airplane, come out here.
Yeah.
And so it was super easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to this new job, and they're like, "Oh yeah, fuck what he said. Like, he's the owner. Like, yeah, but I'm taking over. Like, he's taking a step back, and I'm kind of taking a step up in his place now.
That's fucked up.
And he's like, you're gonna be on production. So I stayed there for like a couple months, and I was kind of like, yeah, fuck this. I'm done. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my dad one night about it, like telling him all the whole situation. Like, this shit kind of sucks. Like, I don't want to stay production. That's not what I went there for.
That's like working on like the assembly line, like
pretty much. I literally took massive rolls of paper, put them on a machine, and like masking paper for like automotive shops, like to paint and stuff. Okay. And we would chop it down, like cut the rolls and put them on smaller rolls, and like receipt paper, butcher paper, stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, it's an easy job. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I was hired to do.
Yep.
And he was kind of listening to me about it, and he's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. Maintenance really did sound fun to me. Like turning a wrench, learning the machine, learning how to work on it, learning how to trouble, like all that.
Yep.
And he's like, one of my contractors, he's looking for a diesel mechanic. And I was like, dude, I do not know shit about working on a diesel truck, let alone a semi.
Yeah, but that's like your nature, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it, set it up. Like, I'll meet the guy.
Yeah.
And this guy is like super down to nature, like super cool dude. He'll help out anybody. Like we have a customer right now just picked up his truck. He has a $40,000 bill.
Jesus
Like
Christ.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And he's the owner of the shop's like, just pay it back when you can. Like, I know that's a lot of money. Just pay it back when you can. Like, super cool dude, super nice, super easy to get along with. But anyways, I go up and meet him, and I'm like, hey man, like, I'm a good parts changer. I can look at it and tell that's where it goes, figure out how to put it back on. Like, he's like, I'm gonna trust you. You want to learn? I'm like, absolutely.
Yep.
And I've been there for just over a year now.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like people like that, you know, they're like, hey, this guy's got potential. He was referred here in a way. You know, like what's the worst that can happen? You know, like either he just doesn't have fun and you know things don't work out and it is what it is, or I teach him everything I know. He learns everything I know, and now he's one of my great employees, and I don't gotta worry about him. I don't gotta he let him just ride on his own. You know.
Now I have had my fuck ups.
Have you had any like really big ones that you were like?
I've had one really big one.
What'd you do?
And it was like 3 months after I started. I was replacing injector cups on an international semi.
Oh yeah, I've done that 1,000 times.
I was replacing something on the top end of the motor.
Okay, there we go. That's more like it.
I put it back together wrong.
Oh, what happened? What does that mean?
Started the truck, drove it around the back of the shop, let it sit there and like idle, like just kind of sit there for a little bit, and all of a sudden it just starts making a terrible sound. I'm like, fuck, dude, that's not good.
Yeah.
So I'm like freaking out the rest of the day, and then finally me and my shop foreman, we pull the truck in, we pop the hood, I take the valve, like take the covers off the top of the engine off, and we're like, dude, I fucking cracked the head on that. So the head's trashed on this engine. All the work that I just did's down the drain. I think it came out to $15,000 that the shop had to pay out for that.
Yeah, but
and I kind of talked to him because like I seen him that evening, and I didn't say a word to him because like with me being as new as I was, I didn't know the extent of what I just caused. So I didn't want to.
You were scared too.
Yeah, and I didn't want to say anything wrong and be like, "Yeah, this is what's wrong with it," and it not be like until my foreman talked to him or talked to me and let me know more in depth on what I caused. Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, and he kind of got pissed off at that, and I kind of the next day after I knew what was actually going on, I was like, "That's why I didn't want to talk to you. I didn't want to say something wrong."
Yeah,
and he's like, "I get it," and I was like, "So am I fired? Like, I know this is gonna be expensive as fuck." He's like, "No, I'm not gonna fire you over money." Yeah. He's like, "If you do this shit again, though, you're fucking gone. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts." I'm like, I got it.
Yeah, you got to learn from your mistakes. I mean, that's a good mentality as a boss. That's a good person that anyone would want to work for. You know,
right?
Like, be like, hey, listen, you fucked up. Just say you fucked up, right? And if you do it again, I'm gonna be pissed.
Which, and I thought like he was kind of like I almost felt like he was singling me out. And then like at the end of the conversation, he's like, "Josh, he's been a mechanic for 30 years. He's like, he just fucked up on a Cummins. He does it again, he's fucking gone. Like, it's not just you. Like, I'm gonna let you learn from your mistakes, and I'll cover it. Yeah, like that's what insurance is for. But like, don't fucking do it again." I'm like, understandable.
Yeah, insurance is a hell of a drug, dude.
For real. He's about to learn that right now. So we have a major contract through Tyson.
Mm-hmm. Like chicken fingers?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, and we had a really big fuck up with them. Like, a whole lot of eggs are trash. I know it sounds funny. Here, let me see if I can.
Probably like I would think something to do with like maybe like the refrigerator or like the box or something. I don't know. Yeah, or the truck wasn't able to leave in time.
Let me show you this picture here.
What are you showing me? Oh, hey, if you're not watching this, just know, every egg is broken. Every single.
There's about, I'd say probably 150,000 eggs on that trailer.
Oh man. That's so shitty.
So yeah, that was a pretty good fuck up, and that's something that my boss. So he owns, well, technically like 3 or 4 different companies, but the 2 ones that I work for pretty much is I work for Conrad's shop, and then he has a trucking company that is called On My Way Trucking. On My Way has the Tyson contract, and we also have a Tyson contract, but that's to work on all their semis, all their trailers, and everything that hauls the chickens, all that good stuff. OMW or On My Way, they haul the chickens, haul the eggs, and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's pretty good. That one's probably going to be a lot more expensive than mine.
Yeah, well, at least you'll. Oh, thank God now.
No shit, heat's off me.
Yeah, somebody else fucked up. Thank God.
But
the whole time you were probably like, "All right, somebody else go fuck up now." Yeah.
Like week after week, I'm like, "Shit, nobody fucking did it, man."
Yeah. You thinking about just like cutting like a gas line or something?
Like,
Damn it, Josh, you did it again. Yeah. poor Josh.
Oh, poor Josh for having to deal with me every day.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I dealt with you for fucking like almost 5 years, and that was miserable.
Yeah, no shit.
But miserable in a good way, right? We've definitely had our times where, you know, I'm just like, Dad, this kid, like the Xbox days, because like when we really not got along, but like when we really like hung out all the time, and I use hung out as in like
Okie days.
Yeah, like on deployment, stuck in a barracks room because of COVID, just playing Xbox and yelling at Australians.
There was some
Those are some of the funnest,
pretty good characters out there.
Yeah. Well, you did one deployment. Yeah, go ahead. Go after you.
Or some we'd get some Australians, some Japanese, and some Crown Eaters from some other base that's on Okinawa, and we're just like, pull up, dude, Camp Shields, let's go.
Pull up to Camp Shields, pussy. Yeah. Dude, I remember that, dude. Hey, shout out Baines, dude. Baines, if you're hearing this, you were always like the quiet killer who is like the second best on our team, but it was just those one-liners that you had. Pull up to Camp Shields, pussy. Dude,
So,
I'd be dying.
I like how you said that second best on our team, because I was probably the best, and then it was Wyatt, and then you, and then Bane. Like,
Okay.
You
were good at talking shit. You were terrible at shooting the other team.
No, with a 7.25, I was good, dude.
Yeah. Remember Tommy? The dude was talking shit. He
Golden
was like, he was like that stupid shotgun, and Tommy just goes, platinum.
Every time.
Yeah.
He ended up getting in Damascus.
I don't know what
I could have sworn he did.
That was the only gun he used, that and grenades. I'm pretty sure everybody listening has played Call of Duty, so you probably know exactly what we're talking about. And if you don't, just
YouTube.
Yeah. You can catch me live on Twitch.
Hey, that was the good old days. Me live on Twitch, old Rona phases.
Yeah, dude. You definitely had the funny name to go with the funny accent, with the smart ass and funny remarks.
I had to watch my mouth on that, though.
Yeah. That's true. No one likes a potty mouth on stream. That's not good.
Right.
But excuse me. So you did one deployment in Okinawa, right?
Yeah.
And then you did another one in Tinian, right?
Yep.
They didn't let you touch any diesel motors in Tinian?
No.
Them, I guess.
The CMs that I was out there with, they didn't want me out there doing anything like that.
You would think they'd be like, "Oh, you're from Kentucky, like you have a truck, you can fix this," but
Which, as funny as it is, like I was a UT, just like you. I was a plumber and HVAC. Like that's all I was supposed to do.
Yep.
Out there, man, you were a CB.
Yeah.
A UT, a CE. Like I worked with Alvarez almost every day doing electrical.
Shout out her. Yeah.
Like it was nuts. And then I'd do BU stuff with SJ and a couple other people. Like it was nuts. And then whenever I wasn't doing that, I was an EO. I was running a skid steer or a dump truck.
That's fun. It's fun, man. It's fun how it kind of breaks down into like you honestly said it best, like you have a rate, but there's times of the project where you're not your rate, you're a CB.
Right.
Like, hey, like even in the Philippines, like our doc, our corpsman was driving nails and digging trenches, and we were like, hey man, like no one gets a break here. Like, get in the fucking pit.
Like, shout out, shit, what was his name? Skaggs. Chief. He's a chief now. He left our debt because he picked up chief. And, oh, fuck, what was his name? Heavier set, Doc. I can't think of his name. He was HM1.
Stanley,
yeah.
Stanley, that's my man, dude. Yo, he was one of those people that like I made it a point every time I seen him to like stop and say what's up and like have like that brief like see you later conversation.
So Stanley came out and replaced Skaggs, but man, Skaggs, he was a real one for real. Like, he would always hit you up like, hey, you want to go hang out? Like, you want to go to the beach or something? Like, go snorkeling? Like, there wasn't shit to do on Tinian. Like, it was a 4 by 10 mile island. I mean, the locals were cool as shit, but it is like, you know what I mean? Like, the only thing you could do is go hiking. There was one bar that we ended up getting kind of banned from.
Oh, why?
Actually, I didn't even end up going there, but I think there was like a drug ring or some shit that was going on in that bar, and like all military, like they shut the bar down. All the military wasn't allowed to go there. Just a whole bunch of shit.
Well, that kind of makes sense why the military can't go there. Yeah,
I don't see why not. Like
the locals were getting crazy, dude. Yeah. Oh, hey man, we can just get some Coca-Cola. Isn't there cocaine in Coca-Cola, or did they stop that like 40 years ago?
That's in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Now, I got in, me, Hardesty, and a couple other guys, like, we got in really close with some of the local police. I could show you pictures of me getting put in handcuffs, and like, it's fun as shit. We ended up
posing for Instagram pictures.
Pretty much. But it was a real short, they were Chamorrans, but real short Chamorran dude, and then Dennis, real big, like, looked like he was off Moana, dude, like Maui. Real big Chamorran. And I knew Dennis pretty well, and I looked at Dennis and I was like, bro, did you bring your little brother to work today or what? Like, and his partner was like, nah, that shit ain't funny. He hit me up, or hit Hardesty up one night, and he's like, what are y'all doing tonight? Because we used to go out and play cornhole. I built a fire pit, like, just play cornhole all night. And they bet a lot on that island. Like, I won a lot of money from Dennis from playing cornhole. He should have known better. Kid out from Kentucky, dude. Like, that's all we did.
Yeah, I don't think he knew what Kentucky was.
But he hit us up one night, and he's like, what are y'all doing? We're like, hey, we were actually about to call you because we're trying to see if it's legal for us to light off fireworks.
Oh, okay.
If Senior Chief Harris is listening, we did not light off fireworks. But anyway, we spent, as a debt, collectively, like, probably $3,500 on fireworks.
Damn. Was it like a holiday, or
right before New Year's?
It's New Year's.
So we bought a shitload of fireworks, and we were going out to this place called the Blowhole. When the waves would crash, it would go into a coral rock and like shoot a big gusher out of whatever. And he's like, it's only illegal if you don't invite the police. We're like, fuck, dude, come on.
Well, yeah, I mean, keep it safe, keep it contained. Like,
so this dude pulls up off duty, and I kind of like made a joke with him. I'm like, Dennis, we brought all of our fireworks. What did you bring? He's like, oh, brother, I got my own. Pulls out his fucking gun. I'm like, whoa, put that back, dude. He was cool as shit, man. I miss him. Matter of fact, after this, I'm probably gonna shoot him a text just to see how he's doing. Like,
good, yeah, you should.
I miss a lot of my military friends. Like, everybody I met in the military, all the friends I made, you guys, our friend group. Like, that's part of the shell shock I was talking about. Like,
yeah,
the first 2 weeks, it felt like you were home on leave. You know,
really,
like,
it does.
Yeah,
but you can grow. I mean, yeah, I guess you're right, because you wear whatever the fuck you want. You grow facial hair. You have no care in the world because you're just like, I don't have to go back there.
Right.
But I guess you just never end up going back.
And I don't know how long, like, the longest you've taken leave, but like my most side usually takes like 2 weeks at a time.
That's like the norm, yeah.
Right. So like 2 weeks go by and you're like, all right, time to go back. But you're not going back. Like you said, like it's just a completely different world, man. Like seriously.
Especially like when you get out and like they take your cat card. Because like, where have I been buying like my stuff for like the past 5 years? My groceries, getting my gas, getting tobacco or not nicotine, like caffeine product. Like everything.
Yeah.
Everything I've gotten has been like on base. But when you get out of the military and you're not allowed to go on those places for a certain amount of time, like now what?
Yeah.
Now I'm like no,
Which I kept mine.
That's okay. Well, but you're in the military.
Yeah, I have a new one now, which my wallet's upstairs. But yeah, I have a new one now. I
That's
look
good.
like a child.
You should have them take a picture of you with a beard and throw it on there.
I tried. Army base, man. I had to go to Army Beers.
Oh, really?
Yes. And it wasn't even like a beard like this. I had like a 5 o'clock shadow because I had drill that Saturday and Sunday, and I ended up going on like Tuesday or Wednesday. So I had like a 5 o'clock shadow. And I sit down in the chair after waiting like an hour and a half in Fort Knox Deers. And they're like, sir, the commissary's right down the road. You need to go get a razor and shave.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm in the reserves for Christ's sake. Like, are you serious? She's like, yes, sir. Army regulation. I have to have you do this. I'm like,
yeah. They had signs like that on our base too. It was like, you need to be in like professional standings. You need to have all this, like follow like all of the uniform code. And I was like, damn, it's like serious. Like, I'm like, good thing like my wife came with me, and I was like, could you imagine like you brought your wife an hour and a half to get her picture taken and all that, and they were like, hey, thanks for waiting, but your husband, it's got to go shave.
I was the only person in the exchange bathroom shaving really fast. It was like you got like sergeant majors and shit walking in the bathroom looking at me like I'm a piece of shit. I'm like,
yeah. Well,
sorry, dude.
I think you're not stationed on that base.
Yeah, no kidding.
You could do away with it. But your transition from active duty to reserve, like, what's that like? Like, how do you finish a contract and you're like, hey, I want to go reserves? Like, what does that contract look? What does that process look like?
So for me, it was kind of a little different. Like, there's ways, I guess, I think, don't quote me on this, there's ways you can smoothly transition from your active duty contract to your reserve contract. I think I did it a little bit too late, like a couple months before I got out kind of thing.
Okay.
So my recruiter had to wait until I got my DD-214 to finalize my contract. So after I was fully separated from the active duty, she had to take my DD-214, and essentially I was in the reserves after that.
Okay, so that's one way to do it, right? Is when you get out of the military, as soon as you get your DD-214, you can go back to a recruiting station and tell them, hey, I was in the military. Here's my DD-214. I got it yesterday, but I want to go to the reserves.
So, well, that might work. I know for me, I called my old recruiter. Like, he was super cool. One of them recruiters, like, you always hear bad stories about recruiters. Like, oh, they fucking lied to me. He was pretty straightforward, dude. Like, it's going to suck. Like, you're going to do this and don't stand up at the moment of truth and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shit like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. So, like, he always shot me straight. He even helped me out. Like, before I was a CB, I was going through air crew candidate school. So I was supposed to be an air crewman. But I dropped out of that 2 weeks before going to SEER. But anyways, super cool dude. Like, he was a SAR rescue swimmer on an aircraft carrier. Like, he taught me, I don't want to say he taught me how to swim, because that's, I taught myself how to swim.
I believe it.
But he taught me, like, the proper strokes and shit. Like,
he taught you.
Right. I walked into that one, dude.
Yeah.
I walked into that one. But, like,
God, I'm
he taught me
flipping that one.
He taught me the proper
stroking procedures and
yeah.
That's it. Last one, I promise.
But, like, super good dude. So I call him up and he's like, dude, actually, I quite literally just did the same thing you're going through. gave me a prior recruiter's number, prior service recruiter, and she helped me out with everything. I was like, this is what you need to do. I'll send you the entire questionnaire form and all that, like, or not the questionnaire, like the contract, everything I need to go through, all the information. Send it back when you get your DD-214. Send me that, and I'll finalize it, send it to you, you sign it. You're in the reserves. Congratulations.
Okay. So what would be like the correct way to do it then? Do you know that way?
Not fully. Okay. I guess if the viewers are listening, I guess go to your NCC and maybe they can point you in the right direction.
Yeah, your career counselor is probably like step one, right? Like you're not gonna go to like medical, be like, I want to go reserve. Like, that's great.
Because I guess, I guess my recruiter, she was like, don't use your command at all for this. Like, you've already came to me, just stick with me. I'll try to make this as easy as possible. Fuck her. Asshole. Anyway. I guess, go to NCC or your career counselor, whoever that may be, and just tell them, like, hey, I'm a year, 6 months out from getting out. I'm considering the possibility of going to reserves.
Yeah.
What's my steps? And I'm sure they might be able to point you in the right direction. I probably should have done that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like you said before, everybody learns from mistakes. You're not the only one. There's just insight for people who are, who are in the shoes currently right now that you were in the past. Mm-hmm. So it'd be helpful to know like the path, like that when you get out of the military and you say, hey, I'm done, and you take like that 2 weeks of leave where you're a civilian, it's a little harder maybe to get back in because there's different steps you have to go through.
Yeah.
Like the military won't be like, hey, like, okay, you said reserves, this is how you're going to do it. This is where you show up. This is what you do, and yada, yada, yada. You did say you got an enlistment bonus, right? Did you get that for your stroking or?
Yeah. So technically I was supposed to have a $5,000 sign-on bonus from going active to reserves. I've been in reserves for October. I've been in the reserves for a year and like 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Yet to see that money. I did get a call like 2 days ago, like, hey, have you received this yet? I'm like, nah. He's like, all right, I'm working on it.
Oh, that's good because back pay is always the thing.
Yeah.
As quick as they will take your money, they'll give it to you. That takes time, though.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, after you, man. It's all about you.
Dude, I got outright active. Done. I got a letter like 4 months later saying we overpaid you. Your last check. You owe the Navy like, I think it was like $950 or some shit. I'm like, dude, that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. So I completely I was aiming on paying it, and I completely forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I start going to drill, and you get paid 3 days after you go to drill or something. And I started noticing I was only getting $100, something like that. I don't remember the exact amount, but $100 compared to what I was getting. Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. So I log on to my pay, and they're deducting that shit from my pay.
You see the little bottom right, it's just debt owed $950. Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
They got me with that too, and it's kind of my fault, but at the same time, it's not. I don't really know whose fault it was. You remember when the Navy they thought I got paid double? They thought it's my per diem. I was getting my per diem. And then when I did my DTS, they were like, oh, you got paid twice. And I was like, no, I didn't. So I took all of my pay stubs and I was like, here, I didn't get paid double. But by that time, it was too late. So the Navy was like, hey, you owe us $10,500. And I was like, so for a year and a half, they were taking a chunk of my paycheck to pay back this debt. And I was like, yo, we need to stop this. So it was a big process. One of my chiefs, most helpful chief that I've ever had was like, yo, if you're having this problem, you got to tell me. And I was like, yeah, but I'm a guy and we don't do that. We bottle shit up and keep it to ourselves and try to figure it the fuck out. Right. He was like, get it, got it, copy, understand. But let's get you your money back. And he flew this like financial guy in the military from California to Okinawa to sit down with me and be like, what's going on? And like 2-3 weeks later, they stopped taking all of my money, and then they gave me a fucking fat check. So I'm on deployment, living like rent free, food free, you know, drinking like cheap beer because that's the type of guy I am. Next thing I know, I get a check for like $9,000. I told Oso, I was like, we're going to Chili's.
Okadina, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was definitely, it sucked, but it was kind of like the Navy was like acting like a bank for me. For you, not, hey, stop stroking. I can't stop it. Yeah, but I mean, they kind of like helped me save my money and then gave it to me when I didn't really need it, but it helped out.
So there's a kid, like you're talking about, like $10,000, like they told you owed like $10,000, like whatever.
Yep.
This kid in the reserves he's kind of a dipshit. Like I'm slow, bro. Like you've met me, you've done deployments with me, like you know me.
You're slower than reverse.
For real. Like this kid kind of puts me on a whole nother level, you know? I'm up here, he's down here. Like, so we were talking, like shooting the shit, like drill weekends, you don't really do much. You kind of do some trainings, but you talk. You kind of get to know everybody, get to know their past and like why they joined, kind of like how we're doing here. And he's like, yeah, bro, I'm getting fucked right now. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, so I'm getting paid active duty right now. And I'm like, since, like, how long has this been? He's like, well, I went to boot camp like 9 months ago. And they sent him from boot camp to A school, like normal.
Yeah.
And then once you graduate A school, that's when you go cell res. Drill. And he's like, I've been getting active duty pay. And like that drill weekend that he said he was getting fucked, he's like, they're wanting all that money back. I'm like, no shit, give it back. Like, he's like, but I spent it.
Oh my
God. I'm like, that's a fucking you problem, dude. That's not a them problem. I'm like, if I ever in my entire Navy career knew that I had like gotten way overpaid, like set that shit aside. Like they're gonna take it back.
Yes, save that money. Yeah.
Like that one way or the other, Uncle Sam's getting his money back, and I'm finding that out now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, so that's probably what they're gonna do if he doesn't have the funds, because like I don't think they'll take out the money. Hopefully, they don't do that to the kid and put him in the negative. But they'll start deducting his paycheck. So he's basically
what they're doing.
He's gonna have to sign like a second contract to being like, "Yo, you will never get out of the military."
He got his ass now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha, bitch.
Gotcha. Dude, that's fucked.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean,
that's on the Navy, but it's on him for like he spent it all. Like,
yeah, but and also like, bro, like, don't tell me, go tell them. You know,
yeah, like go to the admin, dude. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm not paying it.
I'm gonna go tell somebody on a podcast about this. Yeah, you think I give a shit? That's funny, dude. Oh, that poor kid. But drill is kind of fun then, right? I mean, I guess
it's all right. So,
is there a big split? I'm sorry. Is there a big split between active duty and like, you know, past active duty and reserves, or?
Yeah. So, like right now, my LPO is a BU1 that doesn't know shit about his job. No offense, BU1, if you're listening. Doesn't know shit about his job. He is a prior service Marine.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Now, there is a select few, like there's a chief. Well, he's chief now. He's a BMC or BUC. Holy shit. BUC.
Yeah, English is such a hard language in Kentucky, isn't it?
But yeah. He knows his shit pretty well. Like there's a select few that know their job pretty well.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the ratio, there's probably 50-50 from like Army active to Navy reserves, Marine active to Navy reserves, like different branches coming together as one. And it's like,
oh wait, that's actually pretty dope though.
It's pretty cool because you get to hear their experiences.
I didn't know you can go from like Army active duty to Navy reserves. I didn't know it worked like that.
Which I was actually, before I 100% was sold on Navy, I was going to go Army reserves.
Well, isn't the Army reserves like just the National Guard?
Pretty much, yeah.
I was talking to somebody. I actually did a podcast that I released already, and he's in the National Guard, and offline we were talking about it, and dude, that sounds like a dope job. One, because right, you get to stay in the military and keep backing your flag, and just do some cool shit. But also like the experiences and the things he told me about like what he does and the jobs he does and the people he meets, and I'm like, that sounds great, dude. Like, damn, fuck. I went to the wrong office.
No shit. I had to go down to like medical or something. I can't remember. Like reserves is one thing I don't like about reserves compared to active is like, as you probably know, DTS, huge thing when you're going on deployment.
Yeah, that's what got me fucked at a 10,500. Right. Yeah, dude. Oh god, so, they need to make that like so dumb proof.
We pretty much had. This might be different for you, but my entire active career, we pretty much had like one or two people that for a whole det that would come together and be like, okay, put your cat card in here. And he does your DTS or she, and like they do it, and you're like, okay, you're good. You can pull your cat card out. Next.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, you sit there with them, log in, and they're like, okay, look at it. I'm like, yeah, it looks good to me. And they're like, yep, it is. Okay. You have that one person who like went to like the DTS classes and like learned how to do it. Because like at the end of the day, like regardless if they sit there and type in 100 for me, or if I sit there with one finger and type in 100, it's getting done no matter what, right? And I'm signing my name. But yeah, you need that one person who's like good at it.
So now, reserve side, I wish I would have paid attention to DTS because it's all on me now. Like I have orders in December that I'm going to Mississippi for like a week, and I have to get my airline, I have to get my hotel, I have to do all this shit, all my per diem, like, and if I get it wrong, and like this is no shit, they're taking this serious now. Like my government travel card, everything I use on that, I have to immediately pay off, or I could literally go to captain's mast. They're masting people because they're not paying off their government travel card on time.
Have you been to mast before?
Surprisingly, no.
Damn, that's crazy.
You remember old CMC Martinez?
Yeah, of course.
So when I first got to NMCB 5, it was me, Grosso, Manhart, like a couple of guys I went to A school with, and 5 was on deployment. They had like 2 months left. They just shut down like the people that are going back out, like for the new guys coming in, they were going to Okie.
You lucky motherfucker.
Right.
I was the opposite.
I had like a 14-month home port.
Dude, I got there and they were like, you're going on deployment. I was like, oh, cool. When? They were like, next week, pack your shit. I was like, huh. I didn't even get in and out yet. What the fuck, dude? I didn't even get to go to the beach.
Yeah, I was like, so, because you remember Livingston?
That was my mentor.
So he was like emailing me, like, we'll see you in Okie, shit like that. And I'm like, oh, cool. So, like, I am going. Like, I was kind of excited for it. Like, get to California, sign some shit, going to Japan. Like, super cool. Because I've wanted to travel. Like, this is what I've seen. Brandenburg, Kentucky, man. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to travel. So, get out to California. I'm like, they're like, yeah, we just shut it down. Like, you're not going. I'm like, fuck. Luckily, I didn't because I met my beautiful wife upstairs. You know what I mean?
Good.
But, where was I going with that? Shit.
How the hell am I supposed to know?
I don't know, man.
I'm not a mind reader.
But like, Martinez. So
yeah, getting yelled at.
We get out there and we're there for like a month, and Martinez, Tobias, and fuck, what was the XO's name?
You don't gotta.
Sorry. So the triad comes out to introduce themselves to the new folks to the command. So we all go over to Alpha Company in their shop, and we're all standing in formation. All of HPL is standing in formation, and they go on with their spiel, like who they are, their expectations in this command and whatnot. And at the end, CMC pulls out a paper and goes, "If I call your name, go over to the side." And he called out probably 4 names, and then he goes, "Carter." And he called out like another couple names, and I'm like, fuck. Like, what did I do? So I go over to the side, and they like start talking about underage drinking. I'm like, well, I have been, but and he's like, y'all been having barracks parties and all this other shit. Like, just kept going on and on and on. So he's trying to like go back, meet me at the HPL office. Got us all like separated, and we're sitting there, and he pulls me into the office, and he's like, "You've been fucking underage drinking, haven't you?" I was like, "No, Master Chief." He's like, "Well, that's not what I heard about Mississippi." And I kind of like, I mean, you know me as a smartass. I kind of was being a smartass, and I'm like, "Yeah, but what can you do?" Like, that was in Mississippi. This is California. Completely different command. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I had my fun in Mississippi. There's a little bar in named Skeeters. I can't remember if I think that's the name. They didn't ID you. Like, we would go there and drink all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
and again, it is Mississippi.
Right.
That's the first place that I knew that you're allowed to have an open container.
Yep.
Well, so you could literally go to a bar. I mean, obviously you can't be like above the legal limit, right? But you could drink a beer and drive to a Waffle House, eat food, and then drink another beer and drive home. Wild.
I know shit. The way I found that out, there was a 3-lane road. I was in this lane. There was a cop in this lane, and then a Chevy Astro van, like one of them box vans.
Yeah.
Dude was drinking a tall Bud Light, just sitting there, just drinking away. I'm like, what the fuck? And the cop like looks at him like it's nothing. I'm like, are you shitting me?
Yeah.
And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I wish I was of age in Mississippi. Like, fuck.
Yeah, I didn't know it was legal like that. Kind of the same situation where I just seen someone drinking, and I'm like, yo, this guy's got balls, you know?
Like, that's my boy right there.
Yeah. Hey, yo, pull over real quick. I gotta talk to you. Speaking of Mississippi, do you remember that place? I think it was called Murky Waters. It was like the wing place.
Was it on the beach?
It was kind of like down that way. I don't know. I don't know. I just reminiscing about Mississippi and like all that. There was that one wing place that was so fucking good. One, it was good because the wings were cheap on certain days, but two, just because the place was so lively and the beer was so cold. Oh, I would never go back to Mississippi, but if I ever had to, I would definitely make that a point to stop.
You said Murky Waters?
Yeah, I think that's what it was called.
I'll have to hit that up in December.
Yeah. It's like, so like, you know, like when you come out of base and you go like out of the main gate, right? You go straight and you make a right on that main road. You take that down and it's like in that town over there. What town that is, I don't fucking know.
Biloxi.
But it's sure. Sounds good to me. Sounds hick enough in my eyes. Yeah. I think that's what it was. It was going towards the water. So yeah.
I had some really good memories in Mississippi, man. Like, I spent a lot of my time at Keesler Air Force Base. There was a lot of fun over there, you know.
The holy shit, yeah.
There was a lot of fun over there.
We got the motherfucking Tinder Pro.
For real. Now, I don't want to name names, but something actually kind of touched my heart whenever I started thinking about Gulfport. So you know him, and after the podcast, I'll tell you who I'm talking about, or you might even gather who I'm talking about. This kid, unnamed, messages me one night because I was like one of the only ones out there with a car. And he's like, hey, bro, I need to go off base. I'm like, for what? He's like, oh, I just need to run down to the liquor store. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Mm-hmm. So we go down. He grabs a bottle of Jack. We come back, and I drop him back off at his barracks. I go to my barracks. I'm chilling. And he texts me like, no shit, an hour later. Hey, bro, can you take me back out? I'm like, for what? He's like, go back to the liquor store. I'm like, bro, you just got a bottle of fucking Jack.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I know, but I'm not feeling anything. I'm like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not taking you back out.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't end up taking him back out, and I kind of addressed that. Like, that seemed like a problem. And he's like, I know, I'm taking it under control. Like, you know what I mean? Well, he messaged me like a week later. We're in ECS, and he's like, hey, bro, can you take me off base? I'm like, I'm not taking you to the liquor store. He's like, no, completely different thing. I'm like, all right, what is it? And he's like, well, I got a Tinder girl right off base, and she needs a ride on. I'm for the boys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to let him, like, I'm not going to be the one that cock blocks him.
Yep. Hey, if you've ever did that for the homies, your military appreciates you.
So I'm like, all right, dude. I'll be like, meet me in my car in like 10 minutes. He's like, all right, cool. The whole ride from the barracks to picking her up, I'm like, bro, this is Mississippi. You need to wrap your shit. Like, you know what I mean? Wrap your shit.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I know, man. And you could tell he'd been drinking a little bit.
Whatever. Dude polished a bottle of Jack before the credits to Big Daddy even started.
You know what I mean? Like, you could tell he'd been drinking.
Yeah.
But he's still kind of there. And I'm like, bro, wrap your shit. This is fucking Gulfport, Mississippi. Like, they're known for some shit down here. He's like, yeah, all right, I will. Oh, the next morning, like, we have class. And I'm like, how was it? And he said something, I can't remember, but I'm like, did you wrap it? He's like, no, bro, I had to take it off. I'm like, bro, you need to go get tested.
Yeah.
Well, he came back with it, and I'm like, fucking told you, dude.
Dude was laying prone on the range, just like squirming side to side. Like, dude, what are you doing? So itchy.
I was like, I told you. So
that poor soul.
We ended up getting out to Cali together. We were same battalion, and we were going through NDOC, right? And you could tell, like, I was his ride to and from work. Like, I lived in the barracks. Well, technically, I kind of did, kind of didn't, but I'd drive past the barracks and I'd pick him up, go to work. So we were in NDOC this week, and I could smell it on him, like picking him up first thing in the morning.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I get it.
I'm like, bro, are you drinking right now? He's like, no, this is from last night. I'm like, I kind of brushed it off. Well, after a couple of days, like, I'm like, hey, bro, like, if you need me to, like, I can help you. Like, I can take you to DAPA or whoever. Like, I can get you help.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. Well, we're in NDOC, and somebody kind of caught on to him. And as they're, like, catching on to him, he finds out they're catching on to him. So he, like, books it to the, like, runs from where we're having NDOC all the way back to the barracks. And he gets in the barracks, and they find him passed out with 2 liquor bottles next to him. And they take him over to medical, and he blew like a .183 or something like that. Like, something nuts off the wall.
New high score.
Yeah, no shit. Well, NMCB5, like, obviously he went to Captain's Mast and all that. Like, blanked the command out. But that battalion, like, Captain's Mast, all that, they sent him to rehab. Like, gave him a chance.
Good.
He came back and relapsed. Like, started drinking again. So they gave him the boot. Well, he was living in LA, and actually on my last deployment, I started, which I lost contact with him. I started seeing missing signs, like missing pictures on Facebook. And I'm like, ain't no fucking way. Well, about a week later, less than a week later, they ended up finding him passed away.
Damn.
And as far as I know, this could be wrong. Don't quote me on it. This is what I'm seeing on Facebook from, like, people that knew him, stuff like that, police reports, stuff like that. He was last seen leaving a party with, like, 2 guys, and they found him passed away in his car. So, like,
damn,
that kind of touched my heart because he was a pretty good dude. I've known him ever since I was in Texas with him. Like, super good dude.
Yeah.
Just
had problems.
Yeah. And I tried helping him, but it's one of them situations where you can only help someone who wants to help themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
the Navy tried to help him too. They were like, hey, like, we get it. Okay. This is what we're going to do now. But like you said, you could have said it better. You can only help someone so much, you know?
Well, not to get too personal with me, but I'm kind of dealing with that right now. Like family, you can't do anything about it. Only they can help themselves. Only you can help someone who wants to help.
Yep.
If they don't want the help, it's in one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
You know?
Kind of getting back to, let's just say you, for example, right? I'm not saying you specifically, but you, for example, or anyone else listening, like if they were in kind of like these situations or circumstances, there's a whole bunch of like helplines. There's the crisis line. You can dial 811. You can call the VA. Even if you're not in the military anymore and you got your DD 214 and whatever the case may be, you can still call these numbers and be like, hey, I served in the military and fucking pick a war, pick a year. I need help, and they're gonna get you help.
Which I'm not gonna lie, I've called that number. I've called the military veterans. I don't know if it was a suicide hotline, but I've called that number before.
Yeah,
and they've helped me out with a lot of shit. Like for real.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I've gotten into some pretty dark places in my life where I thought that was the way out. Like for real.
Yeah.
And then I remember I have a daughter, beautiful daughter. She's more of an asshole than I am.
Yeah, she looks nothing like you think.
No, dude, that's I don't even know if it's mine. But
Yeah.
no, she's fucking amazing, man. And I just remember the face, like seeing her face, and I'm like, I need help. So I called the only number that I could think of, and sure enough, like they were amazing, for real. If anybody listening, like if y'all are going through some shit and y'all need someone to talk to, I don't care if Vinny gives out my number. Y'all can call me. Y'all can call that hotline. Like I'm cool. If you want to FaceTime me, I'll grab a beer and we can sit on the porch and I'll drink a beer with you.
Yeah, for real, man. I put all my socials, I put all my emails on everything I post, on all my bios, and I do this podcast, for the main reason to. All right, so specifically men, right? Men is probably the biggest audience that is going to hear this and be like, that's exactly right. And like I said before, men take shit and bottle it up. And if you take a bottle of soda and you shake it up, if you keep shaking it, eventually it's going to explode. And that's not going to be good, right? So, good analogy where I don't want that to happen to another service member or another veteran. So that's why I'm kind of doing this, right? So people can hear other people's stories and be like, oh, look, this is a guy with hand tattoos, a beard, did his time, did some stupid shit. He's in the reserves. His life's on track. If he did it, I can do it,
Everybody, for the most part, in my opinion, kind of has the same story. And if you see, like if I seen you and I'm following, I hear your stories, like you said, and I'm like, fuck, dude, that's happened to me. Yeah. Now look at you. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
I have a beautiful wife and 2 kids. Like, my life's not perfect by no means at all.
Nah, but you got 4 walls and a roof.
Right.
You're chilling.
Like, I'm doing okay for myself.
Yeah.
And every time I wake up in the morning, I see my little girl smile, and she calls me an asshole from time to time, calls my wife an asshole from time to time. Like,
oh, that's fucked up.
Well, dude, we were sitting on the couch last night, and I was watching, ironically enough and funny enough, Spy Kids 2.
Aye, great fucking movie.
Because there's a
Spy Kids classics.
There's a new
my
one.
First crush.
There's a new one.
Yeah, but is it Junie and Carmen like the old?
No, I was kind of.
I don't want to fucking hear about it. Next.
But we were watching the second one, and it was me and my daughter, and she kind of like, I have a massive beanbag. I don't know if you've been to my house whenever we were in California, but I had that big ass beanbag chair.
Yep.
Well, I have that in the corner, and then I have my 2 couches up against it. She gets stuck in one of the cracks, and I just kind of hear her. Like, I'm not paying attention to her. I'm watching the movie. I just hear her go, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like, "Oh my God." I didn't say a word.
You weren't helping her, or she was just like,
she's like, just realized she was stuck. And she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And like, I didn't say anything about it. And then like later on the night, she's already in bed. Like, we're getting the baby ready to go to sleep, put her down. And something happened with me. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And right there, it clicked with me. I was like, she learned that from me.
Yep.
And I told Kaylin the story. I'm like, she said that. I didn't want to tell you because I knew you'd get mad. I knew you'd yell at her, so I just left it alone. Like, I thought it was funny. Like, she don't need to say it all the time, but that was funny.
The movie was like getting really good. I didn't want to like.
But like,
funny, dude.
I don't know, man. Seeing my family, it's just that's priceless to me. Like,
yeah,
I could make $0 at work, but I know I'm coming home to an amazing family. You know.
That's facts. But you're not making $0. You're coming home with chicken eggs.
Pretty much, yeah. Because all the good eggs I kind of like stuck in the pockets, you know. Yeah. Had them scrambled eggs for that evening.
You were like, "Hey, here's $400. Go to the grocery store and get as many fucking eggs as you can get."
Yeah, I thought it was going to come down to that. Like, it was some pretty fucked up shit, but
that's funny, dude.
It worked out.
Well, Brandon, I'm curious, man. So, with everything that you've done in your life up until this point, what do you have planned? What do you see in your future?
So, I have a GI Bill sitting in my pocket, right? You do. Well, you've been. You went to college, but you still have a GI Bill.
Yeah. I'm still gonna use it. As much as I say fuck college, all that bullshit, I'm a hypocrite. I'm gonna use it.
I still say fuck college, but that's just me. Yeah. I'm not going to college.
Well, me neither. I'm not going to college either. Oh, we're going to relate right now.
So I have an opportunity that came up with our local union that I'm going to apply for, and it's plumbers, pipe fitters, welding, stuff like that.
Nice.
And I would start school, I believe, in March of next year.
Okay.
And I would literally get to use my GI Bill for that.
Use your GI Bill for that trade school, right?
And I believe with certain amount of hours, which it's on job training, so I'm getting a full-time paycheck from my employer, who I'm getting the schooling from, and I'm getting a check from my GI Bill for my housing.
Yeah.
So full-time paycheck, housing allowance. It's like I'm in the military again.
Yeah, but you don't have to shave. Well, right. You still do because you still are in the military.
Yeah.
Now, how long do you plan on doing the reserves for?
Be honest with you, I really don't know. Like, if this works out with the union, I probably won't. I'll probably finish out my contract and just be done.
That's gonna be a tough pill to swallow, though.
Yeah.
That's because like you still have it, like you're still holding on, and I don't care, who you are. Even me, man. Like, there's times where I'm like, fuck this, fuck that. I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to do this no more. But that's like every job. Everybody has those days. But the military is a little different. Scratch that. The military is a lot different.
Very.
Because this is your life. Like maybe if you didn't go to boot camp, it wouldn't be as worse. Because like just that knowing you're leaving your family, you're going to do this completely new thing, and you have no contact with the outside world. It kind of gets your mindset in like the military. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The
people you meet, the places you go, the things you do, it's not like a normal job. So I give you credit. I give you credit that if you do get out of the reserves and finally make that final, I'm done, no more, I give you credit because I'm going to have that moment in the future, and I'm not looking forward to it. As much as I want it to happen, not really looking forward to it.
Well, it's like, it's one of them things where whenever I knew I was getting out, like deployment, I knew I was getting out. Like, I'm fucking done.
Yep.
You know what? And you start getting closer, you're like, fuck, dude, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like do I just, I can't really back out now. Like, I've already gone through this.
Like, what about my friends?
Yeah. Right.
What about like, I don't know, just
because like you lose contact. Like, when was the last time you talked?
So it's been a
while.
We have like a group chat where we'll go back and forth on, but that
random. Group chat still kind of died. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
Every once in a while, like, I think the last message that was in that group chat was me saying happy birthday to Ricky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
That group chat kind of died out. Like, you just lose contact with a lot of people, and it's not because you don't love them. Like, you just lose track of time. Like, I'm busy, man. Like,
yeah, bro. Like, you got 2 kids, you got a wife, you got a house, you got a job, you got this, yada yada yada. Just you guys don't have that same schedule where like we both work together, we both
You go to muster and you go home and play Xbox.
Yeah, or like, like we got nothing to do, or like you want to go skate and like go get breakfast or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't have that no more.
And like different time zones, like which luckily we're on the same time zones, but like, you know what I mean? Like different time zones. Yeah, we got people all over now because like Renee, he's in fucking Italy.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just people everywhere, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody kind of like you always see those memes when you're in the active and you're like, when your buddy's PCSing or like when your best friend's PCSing, and you're like, you don't really think about it until you're actually the one doing it.
Yeah. Or even when they're like, hey, I'm PCSing, and like they actually leave. Like the whole moment coming up to it, you're like, oh, like good shit. Like you get to leave. But then like when it actually happens, you're like,
fuck. There goes my buddy. Like, you know, like
you don't realize everything. Like you're probably never gonna see that person again. You know what I mean? It's shitty.
Which I made plans for Baines' wedding.
Yeah.
And shit happened like where it just didn't work out for me. Like I think I had something come up with work or something. Like I can't remember, but
yeah,
I ended up not going. Like I've had plans to go up and see my buddy out in Pennsylvania, and it fell through. Like two of my buddies live 2 hours from me in Tennessee, and I have yet to go see them. Hell, I have a friend that he's from Michigan. He texted me not long after I got out, and he's like, "How far from this do you live?" I'm like, 20 minutes. He's like, "Bro, that's where I'm living at now." I've seen him one time.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I don't know, man. It sucks. Like
definitely,
if I could go back, I'd honestly, I don't know. If I could go back, I'd probably have stayed active.
Just live your life, no regrets. Okay.
Right.
You definitely seem like one of those types of kids.
I got that.
Like the no regret. You do.
No, I don't.
I was like, dude, because I'm putting this on YouTube, proving it. Yeah.
Nah.
Oh shit. Hey, Brandon. I've had you for a while. I don't want to wrap this up, but I'm gonna start to wrap it up. Do you have anything that you want to say, or any questions I didn't ask that you want to cover?
If you're thinking about joining, think long and hard, because it's a huge fucking life-altering decision.
Yep.
Go Air Force. Ironically enough, I went and got my hair cut today, and I was sitting at the barbershop. I was running a little bit late, and I call her. I'm like, "Hey, look, I'm on my way. I need to stop by the bank so I can get your money, but I'll be there." And she's like, "Just come straight here. I trust you. Like, go to the bank after you're done." Like, I'm already kind of running behind, so I'm like, "Cool, whatever." Well, there's two younger guys. One was probably 17, still in high school, and the other one was, I don't know, closer to my age, maybe like 22, 23. And I start talking about your podcast.
Oh, dope.
Oh, fuck. My headset died. But anyways, like, start talking about your podcast. And the 17-year-old was like, "So what's the name of it?" And I kind of told him. And he's like, "Where can I find it at?" I showed him your Instagram. I'm like, "This is it. This is where you can find it." Like, yada, 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 right? And he's like, "Cool. Like, are you going to be on there tonight?" I'm like, yeah, 100%. And he's like, "I'll listen to it." I was like, "I'll shout you guys out if I can."
Yeah, go for it, man.
So I shouted him out. See if it works, because my shit's kind of bugged out right now.
That's all right, man. Everything here is military grade.
So like, I was like, "Yeah, I'll shout you guys out." And I was like, I'm going to say this in the podcast if I can.
Oh, God.
I was like, if you're planning on going military, go Air Force. Y'all got a cake, bro.
Yeah, yeah. In some aspects, yes. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think you can probably agree with me. I don't regret any decisions I made.
No, not at all.
I'm glad I didn't have to go live in the mud in the Marines. I'm glad I didn't have I don't know. I'm just happy with every decision I've made. I would have never met you. I'm not saying that's like a good thing. Maybe I should have joined the Air Force, actually.
But like, all of our deployments were land-based. Never seen a boat. Everybody gets crazy when I'm like, yeah, 5 years active duty Navy. Never set foot on a ship.
Yeah.
And And they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah. They're like, how? You didn't do a deployment? I'm like, the fuck I didn't.
Yeah. I'm like, sorry, I just had a better idea how to get to a foreign country. Like,
yeah.
30
sorry I didn't
90-day boat ride or a hour plane ride.
Yeah. So, like, if you want to join, think long and hard on it. Like, it's a very, very important decision in your life.
Yeah.
So think about it, discuss it with your family, discuss it with your significant other, and just do it. Like, if you want to do it, do it. It's a huge step, but I've made some of my most memorable memories, closest friends, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you 100%, man. I honestly do appreciate you coming on here. I appreciate you telling all your stories. One last question. Do you have any questions for me?
Not off the top of my head.
Good. Thank God. Let's wrap this thing up. Hey, Brandon, thank you very much, man. Yet again, your stories mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to everybody listening. It's a good outlet, a good, look in the mirror for people who maybe are going through the similar things that you've went through. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for joining me. And Freedom Empire, until next time.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Of course, bro. Always. Views presented are those of the speaker, and the guest do not necessarily represent the views of the Department of Defense or its components. Neither the Department of Defense or its components bears any responsibility for the accuracy, legality, or content of the views discussed on this podcast. Now, without further ado, let's get into this.